Yeah, it's working. What's up, guys? Sorry it's been so long since I've done anything. I've been hella busy with a promotion I've had at work and like other life sort of things. Not to mention I've not been. Hi, Squid. Reboot. Hi. Oh, thank you for the ice cream. What's your ice cream question? You keep asking me for one. What's your one? It is cold. Yeah. Some of you may know I've been going through physiotherapy recently. With my leg, I dislocated my knee back in April, and it's taken forever. You were out talking to boys again. Yeah, what? Um, how does it feel to be back? Much better. But like, my leg's been out of place, and like, I went to London last week, and it's taken me forever to recover. Honestly, like, I've just not had the right sleep, and I've not been feeling right, and I think this is the first day now where I finally feel like, yes, I'm good. But then I was going to stream, and I saw Huel was streaming, and I'm not going to miss a Huel stream. I love a Huel stream. So I waited until his stream was over, then I thought I'd have a late night stream. Just building computers, because that's what I love doing. I built my own computer, thought I might as well build a few computers. Oh, thank you for the ice cream, Huel. Ah. Oh. So, yeah, let's get to it, shall we? So I'm just going to carry on from where I've left off in the campaign. So the basic premise of PC Building Simulator is that you're like a PC technician who only works with desktops. I'm sorry, that doesn't exist, but let's just not get into that one. I love the Huel streams, and I know you miss my streams, but I don't mind. So this is my little workshop. I'm working under like my brother or my dad's or something, so it says Tim's Red Hot Repairs, but I have to own 25% of the company. I own 20% so far. But I'm doing very, very well. I've got lots of stuff on order, lots of stuff happening. But I'm just going to build computers, and the issue I've had with this game is that it's not been as realistic as it should be for something that calls itself a simulator. And I know you can argue that with most simulators, but you'll have to do Play Mechanic Simulator here. That is up your stream, up your, you know what I mean. I love PC building. I built Little RG, which I've got sat right next to me here. It's beautiful and it's sexy, and I love it. Um, so yeah, and then I can discuss some of the issues with this and just have a bit of a chill stream for my first stream back. That's all. I didn't want anything that intensive, and then I know I need to get back onto the games I was doing, like Life is Strange and stuff, which I will do. But for now, just a bit of a chill. So what we've got an overclock. So let's get some overclocking and an upgrade. We'll do the upgrade first. That's the easier one. So what do you want? i7-7700K or better? Well, what's your motherboard? Let's have a look. Let's just unplug this. Overclock hype. Well, if there's a hype for it, go on then, we'll overclock first, shall we? Um, let's have a look at what we're dealing with before we start overclocking. Can't you keep doing this? You keep doing this. You keep hosting me, and it's so sweet of you. And I love you for it. And if I had the ability to host, I'd host you back every time because you're just so nice to doing it for me all the time. I love you. Thank you. Um, let's see what we're dealing with. Jesus Christ. So we've got 8 gigs of RAM, 960, 2 gig graphics card. Ain't brilliant, but it's all right. Let's turn it on. Let's see if we can overclock this. So what do they want as an overclock? 45,000 megahertz. That's going to be a push because you're only at 3900. We need to go to 4500. I mean, it's possible. Don't get me wrong. So you've got 3 different things that you change when you overclock your computer. You've got your ratio, which is sort of a clock. A clock is how your processor reads data. It's sort of data, read, process, repeat. That's sort of like the clock. And the higher megahertz you have on top of the base clock, the quicker it does that. Your ratio is how quickly it tries to push that as such. It's very difficult to explain. And your voltage is how much, obviously, power you're pushing to it. So you need a higher voltage, higher base clock, higher ratio, but obviously that creates more heat, so you need a better cooler. It's one thing after the other. So what we need to do first is start overclocking. So you can see the CPU speeds here. We're going to try to get to 4500. So I like to have a good mix between the ratio and the base clock. And by the way, if anybody wants to overclock their computer, this is how you do it. Honestly, just go into your BIOS on your computer. And then you're usually safe around 1.5, but never go above 1.5. You will start damaging things. So usually safe about 1.5. So that should do it. Apply changes and restart. And then we'll have to check the heat. So I'm going to put in a USB stick. Only bought a lurk from my host. Hey, a lurk, somebody extra? I'm happy to have a lurk. It's not my computer. I will show you guys. You get to build your own computer in the game. So this is my PC in the game as such. So I love it. Ah, Kira, hi, long time no speak. Thank you for the ice cream. If you were here at the start of the stream, you'd understand why it's been a while, but I'm not going to go into all that again. Just basically not fully well, too busy. So yeah, that's the computer I've sort of got as my main computer as such. And then as the game progresses, I upgrade it more and more, essentially. Okay, I'm going to restart that one. So while that's restarting, before it does the test, because I don't want to be bothered too much with that, let's get in this i7-7700K. Right, so they're going to need a new motherboard, because the motherboard doesn't support a 7700K, because it's an AMD motherboard, not an Intel one. Ryzen's AMD. By the way, AMD is much better than Intel. I don't care what any of you Intel fanboys say, especially recently with the i9-3900K. Oh my gosh. Not the i9, the Ryzen 9 3900X. That's the one. My god. Like, they've pushed themselves, although they've increased the price of it something ridiculous now. Like, it was expensive before, it was like 500 quid, but now it's like, I think it's like 700 or something, and like, it's becoming more on par with Intel's pricing, but still, it's a better processor than what Intel's got, so I love Ryzen. I love AMD. I'm an AMD fan. I've got an AMD processor in here. I've got an old AMD processor in here. I do have to. I am looking at upgrading my motherboard and processor sometime soon. I believe it or not, I'm still on an AMD FX. You tagged yourself. Well, reboot. Hang on, I've got a sticker for this. Nanny. I love AMD, but when it comes to graphics cards, I'm sorry, Nvidia all the way. You can't beat Nvidia. You have to pay a bit more on the price tag. And you know what? The AMD graphics cards are really decent these days. AMD Bulldozer series. Ah, yes. I love the Bulldozer series. This is what I've got. AMD FX8350 was what I've got. Overclocked to 4.5 gigahertz. And my god, it's beautiful. It runs really well. I do need an upgrade, and I have noticed some issues like your CPU usage, because it's not technically an 8-core processor. It's a 4-core processor with 8 threads, and how it works makes everything think it's an 8-core processor. It's very confusing. So it doesn't work as well as I'd like it to, but I mean, it works, without a doubt. PC's a beast concept. Well, this is the place now. PC Building Simulator. Tell us about your beast. You an Intel, AMD person? What's your graphics card? What's your processor? Everybody, tell me what. Big up your computers. I'll big up mine. Your computer is like, I swear to God, I know it's like a hand-me-down and stuff. Won't go into that one. But your computer is like, I'm still here. I'm still living. You keep putting more shit in me. You make me more powerful, and I fucking love you for it. And you know what? I love you for it, Huel. Like, I'll sit there, and I'm sitting there thinking, like, you've got what? An i5 in there, an old i5? And, like, yeah, it's still just, it's buttery smooth. You've got a really good computer. There's nothing wrong with it. All I'd say to you, if it was me, upgrade your hard drive, dude. I'm not going to go into what he has or anything, it's not fair, but upgrade your hard drive, that'd be my only thing. And you can get a decent SSD for about 40 quid these days. It is worth the upgrade. You would see a difference overnight. It's amazing. Yeah, I still run everything ultra high. I started noticing the issue when you're doing things more than just gaming. streaming does pull it. So at the moment I'm using 59% utilization, whereas most streaming on a game like this wouldn't get anywhere like that. I was thinking of playing Borderlands 3 and the utilization was hitting 90 to 100%, and I was just like, nah. I need a new processor, but I still love what I've got. It's still really decent. Rather have the SSD for a new build. I fully understand that, and do you know what? In this game I get a chance to build a computer, so I might teach you guys how to build a computer if you're ever wondering. Which is basically what I'm doing now, because I have to replace a motherboard. You have to basically replace everything. 6700K, was that what I wanted? 7700K. Let's see if we've got one. No, we'll have to order one in. Where's my computer? $7,700. What are you saying to me? There's no 7700K. Has it not been released yet? I mean, like, what the fuck? Oh, that's the overclock. 7700K or better. I'll try PC Bay. I haven't installed that yet. What do I want for Christmas? Cool. You don't have to get me much at all. What I would love, actually, do you know what I'd absolutely love, is something nice for when I move into my new place. So, you know, a scented candle, and oh, do you know what would be awesome? A framed photo. Do you know, like when we were all at mine recently, when Liam popped back from Germany with Pam and stuff? I'd love a framed photo of that. Like, to put up in my new house. I'd love that. That'd be, like, dream come true, honestly. Here we go. You're going to buy a 1TB SSD. Oh, now that is a dream. I've got two 500GB SSD, so I guess technically I've got a 1TB SSD, and two 500GB M.2s, and then I've got a 4TB hard disk drive and a 2TB hard disk drive, and I've still used up all the space because I've installed every single one of my games for no reason because I don't even play them all. And then Carnita i7-9700K, beautiful. Corsair H115i Pro, isn't that AIO water cooling, I believe? Nice motherboard, Corsair Vengeance, 32 gigs of RAM of Corsair Vengeance. Again, beautiful. What's the speed on it, do you know? NZXT H500 case and an MSI Radeon RX 570. RX 570 is not a bad card either. Got a decent wooden frame. I'd love that, honestly. Something homely. Something I wouldn't think about, because obviously, like, I'm going to start... I've already started, actually. Right over there, I've got, like, crockery and glasses and stuff. But I'd love just something that's so homely to walk into. It'd feel amazing to walk into something like that. Okay, there's fuck all on there. So, I don't know if I'm going to get around to doing this 7700K or whatever anytime soon, but... Hang on. I wonder if it's just the wrong motherboard. No, because I couldn't find any to buy. No, I'm being stupid. Right, let's do a stress test on this. So we're already hitting the 63 degrees, that's not good, and then this is probably just going to thermal throttle it entirely on the CPU temperatures. 70, 80, 90, turn it off. Turn it off. Turn it off. No, might have to install an AIO water cooler. You built it yourself, kind of. That's it. Like, I built Argue myself, and like, even if you haven't got that good of a build, if you've put some time and effort into it, you're gonna love it. Like, this is like Huel as well. You're not so keen. No, you know what you're doing when you build a computer, Huel. You're just not as confident as, say, I am. So you always ask me to come over, but you're the one who installs it most of the time. You're the one who wants to get your hands dirty and try and do it. You just rather have somebody who you know has some experience in what they're doing to do it, and I get that. I get that entirely. Oh, by the way, never do this, by the way. This is just a bug in the game that shouldn't exist. Don't start unplugging things while the computer's still on. That would actually overheat the processor and maybe even break the processor if it did that while the computer's on. The computer wouldn't even pick up the fact that that's disconnected. It might do, but it wouldn't turn it off. You need a supervisor. Yeah, but that's fine. Oh, complete, I forgot yours. Ryzen 5. Oh, Ryzen series is so good. 6-core, 3.2 to 3.5 gigahertz. So I'm guessing 3.2 stock and 3.5 turbo. Radeon FX 480. It's decent. Asus B350 Plus and 16 gigs of Corsair Vengeance. Oh my god, I need some Corsair RAM. I've got cheap ass RAM. I do. But then I've put a RGB heat shield on it. Like, my computer's completely RGB'd to craziness. I would show you guys, but it's like under my desk and it's a pain to get down to. But Jesus. Ryzen 7 700X, now that is a card. It's pretty cheap. Everything's cheap compared to Intel when it comes to AMD, and their processors now are just out of this world. Honestly, the Ryzen ones are incredible. Got 1TB hard drive and a 480GB SSD card with Windows 10 on it, so it's quick to start. Yeah, get an SSD. That is the one thing I have to push to everybody. Anybody who's got a computer that needs to upgrade, get an SSD if you haven't got one. Honest to God, you are just, you don't know what you're missing. The difference is incredible. Tears, hey. God, I'm talking to all you guys instead of actually doing this. What am I doing? I don't even need to open the CPU sheet. It's because I'm talking to you guys. Now this game is a bit buggy sometimes. It's like, yeah, property, blah blah blah. Make sure you install it again. Can't I just send that back to him? Fuck it. I'm just going to install. You must reinstall the customer's part. Why? Why do I need to reinstall the customer's part? It's a stupid thing to install because it's shit. All I can do is just fill up his case with fans and hope for the best, I suppose. I mean, he's got Corsair fans, ML140s, Maglift fans are fantastic. So, it's not like I can upgrade what's there, I just have to add to it, I suppose. Let's do that then. What is this song? Just skip to the next song. Okay, that's a bit different. See, he's got ML140s, those are decent. It's the overclock. It's the overclock that's fucked it. I think if I pull down on the voltage, it might cool it down a bit more. But let's add these extra fans anyway, because it's worth doing. So ML140, right at the top there. Don't think I've got any more Maglift fans. Oh no, I do. I have more ML140s. By the way, Corsair, I'm a Corsair fangirl to like the end of the earth. And fans wise, I love Corsair everything. If I could, I've actually a Corsair mouse right here, RGB mouse, and a Corsair RGB keyboard. I love their stuff. It's worth every penny, and it's just well built. Okay, so we're gonna have to turn another voltage. That's the only thing I could do here to try and keep it nice and cool. But then you worry about it just not working. Be Quiet. I'm not a massive Be Quiet fan. Because they make mostly fans. No, I'm not a massive Be Quiet fan. I appreciate what they do, without a doubt, and they're decent stuff, but I don't know, Corsair's always won it for me. I've never had a Corsair anything that's gone wrong. Like, I should have quite a bit of Corsair in here now. Yeah, I've got Corsair ML RGB fans in here, so Maglift fans. Beautifully quiet and fantastic. They're incredibly reliable. The only problem is, obviously, is it does come with a cost. Look at that temp. But this is a massive fault in this game. If I was like an actual PC building person, do you know what? I don't give a shit anymore. If he has a computer that overheats, he has a computer that overheats, he's going to give me a bad rating, he's going to give me a bad rating. I don't give a shit. Problem with this game, if I was actually like building a computer, I'd say, look, you want me to overclock your computer? I'd love to, but we're going to have to talk about AIO water cooling, because it's, you know, what you got at the moment is just shite for that. Like, no, if you want that shitty little RGB fan, you can have that shitty RGB fan. Whatever, I don't give a shit anymore. Extra cost is so worth it. No! Your mouse and keyboard being Corsair makes a huge difference, because you've just got such a quality build in it. So I've gone through that many mice and keyboards. In fact, my first RGB mouse and keyboard were the cheapest things on Amazon, but they were RGB. I wanted them. They weren't RGB in terms of what this can do, because I've got stuff like IQ software, which allows me to change the RGB to whatever I want. But the difference, and just the fact that if I bash this about or whatever, I know it's perfectly fine, because it's just built so well. It's incredible. Missing cable. Missed a cable on it? What have I forgotten to plug in now? Well, do you know what? That might help the cooling. If I actually plugged in those fans. I've got to check that boots again. Even though obviously it does, because I've just plugged in fans. RTX is not worth investing in yet. Definitely in the near future. Definitely. But essentially what they did is they released graphics cards and they went up to game producers and they said, right, here you go, I want you to sign an agreement with us that you will not allow any proprietary cards, then NVIDIA RTX cards, to use ray tracing for something like 6 months, and that time period's run out, and now games like Battlefield 1 will allow you to ray trace on a GTX card. So RTX still hasn't got enough pull to bring people into it. RTX more for video editors? I suppose. It has got a lot more CUDA cores in it, and it's sort of... like, NVIDIA was missing something out between the 980 Ti and the 2080 Ti. When we went into the GTX range, you know, the 1080s and stuff, they didn't really push for the CUDA cores. They were pushing more for, oh, look at us, we're nice and fancy, let's play good video games. And now they've pushed the CUDA cores out. Oh my god, Conator, Diamond and 7 ice creams? Wow, thank you so much. But yeah, I'd say if you want to invest in RTX, wait until they've started doing, I don't know, the RTX 30 series. Wait until they've perfected it. It's still early days with RTX. He wants to play PUBG. His computer's broken, we'll fix that. New PC for up-and-coming streamer, by the way. Hey! We'll build a streaming computer on a stream. That sounds fucking amazing. Really does. Must be Stein knows if it's his computer. I've got an electricity bill, I've got to pay it. PUBG is not that bad of a game, and if that's what people enjoy, that's what people enjoy. Okay, fair enough, he should play better games, like Borderlands 3. Cool, let's build him a computer worthy of PUBG, shall we? So we need to find out what the specs for PUBG are. I'm guessing he wanted it in recommended. Recommended 4K. Recommended. Or did he want recommended 4K? Just recommended. Okay, so I've got a bunch of cases in here. I enjoyed working in this case. So let's just peel this off. So, shall we have... Yeah, I'm not a massive fan of Battle Royale. Although that being said, if, say, you've lost your computer, broken your computer, or whatever above I had for a short period of time, PUBG on your phone, that is incredible. That is absolutely fantastic, and it's one of the best games you can probably get on your phone. Because phone games tend to be a bit... meh. That's a really fun game on your phone. Sutor, yes, I've seen you play Sutor a few times, kind of to think you're obsessed with that game in a good way. You have a PlayStation for that? Of course. I mean, like, I didn't. My only other solace was my GameCube, which I will look after till the end of time. Love it. I'm also... so you guys know, I've sort of taken a backpedal away from the GameCube. It's been irritating me because there's a massive input lag at the moment, and that's because of the overly complicated capture card I've put in there. It's a TV capture card, essentially, with an AV port on it. So I tried to change something else. I should have that here. So this is a PCI capture card, an AV capture card. And it only works up to Windows 2000. It was cheap, I thought I'd try it. So I've ordered a PCIe capture card. It'll be a bit more, probably a bit more faster and better at the connection, and it only captures AV, it's not a TV card, so hopefully that will reduce the input lag. We'll see what happens. Cool. So, let's have a little lesson on how to build a computer. So we're going to build this PUBG computer, but all I know at the moment is... though it should support an i5-6500, so let's push for the Intel range of things, shall we? So if we get another Mobo... So, first things first is the difference between AMD and Intel motherboards. Most obvious difference from appearance is that we have, over here is like a cover. It's like a sheet cover that covers the processor, whereas Ryzen works by just locking the processor in place by pinching, essentially, the contact pins. So we'll go for an Intel. So there we go. We'll screw it in. So the first things that screwed in are what you call the motherboard standoffs, which stop the connection from the back of the board, the little metal bits, from touching the metal part of your case, which could cause short circuits and all sorts, so it's not worth having. And then, by the way, here's something this thing does wrong. Virtual Machine XP and pass through. Yeah, still not going to be what I'm after. I want it just pure on here. Besides, I'm hoping to build a Windows 2000 computer in the near future. So, RX 5700 is that the? Hang on, I'm googling now. I'm trying to remember which. That is the AMD variant graphics card, isn't it? X5700, 8GB card. It looks like a... Yeah, it's fairly new, actually. I don't know much about that one. So, I have room to learn there, that's all I can say. Yes, it's an AMD graphics card, 8GB of VRAM, so it looks quite decent, but I don't know much else about it at the moment. What the hell is this music? There we go. Right, yeah, so bad practice building your motherboard inside your case. Build it outside of the case on top of the motherboard box. The motherboard box is not non-conductive. It's great for that. I want an i5 6500. Do I have one of those in my repertoire? 6500. So there we go. Close the lid. So yeah, installing a processor is very simple. It only goes in one way. But you might not notice which way it is because it's a square thing, but you can see this little yellow triangle here, and although it's difficult to see on this game, there is a little triangle cut out on the actual motherboard itself, so you just match the two triangles together, pop it in nicely, give it a little wiggle to make sure it's in the right place, and then close the CPU shield on top of it. Before you install any sort of cooling, you need to add thermal paste. This is how much thermal paste you put on a processor. That's all you need. Because that will squash down when the cooler's on top of it. And if it squashes too much, it could actually get into the pins, short circuiting it. You can get non-conductive thermal paste, but there's no reason for it to be there, and it's just stupid expense. Thermal paste is thermal paste. It's fine. Just keep it on the top, and it's fine. I think this person deserves some AIO water cooling. Ooh. No, I'm going to install a... He doesn't need a massive water cooler. I'm going to install a single. Nice and sexy. Bandsy XT. Yeah. So, with coolers, there's usually a backplate you have to install. This is a very strange cooler, because technically that's not attaching through to anything. There should be a plate that's not on there that would cover that entire area, and you can't see it because it's just a stupid fucking game. And then you'd install the backplate here as well. But right. So RAM. How much RAM does he need? So he needs about 8GB of RAM, so we could do 2 4GB sticks. So here are your RAM slots here. Now then, don't just install one, even though this game is stupid because it will let you do this. Don't install one there and one right next to it, because it's something called dual channel, so it searches between two channels at each time. So it will search that channel and think, okay, I found 4GB, and then it will search this channel and go, oh, there's nothing, that's it, there's 4GB. And then it would search that channel, if it carried on. But if it searches that channel, then that channel, you can see it goes, oh, 4, oh no, 8. Okay, all good. This game will let you put them in next to each other, even though that's not how it works. It's just fucking stupid. I just, as a rule, every time I'm playing this game, I install them correctly just to make myself feel better. He doesn't need anything special, he can have this data shit. Ugly RAM. Let's not give him a used one, let's give him a new one. There we go. Then let's get that out of the way ready. Okay, so the RAM's in place. I think the next thing to put in place would be the power supply. So this game isn't too fussed about it. You can mess up, but rule of thumb, you're okay in this game because you're not going over complicated with your rigs at all. It's so satisfying to watch. It is. I just love doing it. But what's good practice is if you've got your build written down on a piece of paper, is to put all those. I think Cooler Master's got a fantastic website for it. Put all those components into their website for their power supply calculator, and it will tell you what wattage you need for your power supply. Fucking simple. Oh, Tears, thank you for 10 lemons. Thank you so much. So we're just going to install this now. There we go. So this is a modular power supply that we've just put in, which means that there's no cables with it, or it would come with a pack of sleeved cables that you'd have to install one by one. It makes... Oh, Diamond! Oh, thank you so much, Tears. I didn't expect that. But it means you can use custom cables as well if you fancy. And we will be doing on this, so it'll be nice and sexy. We have got an M.2 drive holder there, but I don't have any M.2 drives. There's two of them. So we're just going to install probably an SSD, because who doesn't love an SSD? So it doesn't need anything special. This game doesn't really pay attention to much more of his needs other than he wants to play a game, just make sure it has enough for that game. 30 gigs, well, that's 240 gigs, he's fine. So there's the SSD. Simple. Cool. And we need to look at graphics cards. So what does it recommend? It recommends an 8 gig VRAM graphics card, so possibly a GTX 1070. I'm sure I've got some of them. Come to the bottom, maybe. There we go. That's a beefy card. Look at that. Sexy. Cool. And then let's just try and think. Have I forgotten anything? Oh, we could do with some more cooling. Because that's just a piece of shit, that fan. Look at that. Ugh. Shall we get some maglev fans? No, all good case fans, that's right. And ML14 is sexy things. Nope. Can't. It's a 120. Bollocks. So that refers to the amount of millimeters from each diagonal corner. 140 millimeters, 120 millimeters. Just depends on the size of the case. But look at that. RGB LED. You can't be upset with that. I think we'll just front load. We won't bother about the top. It should be enough there for him. Now, before we carry on, sometimes they specify certain things they want in their computer, so let's have a look. Let me ask for some free stuff, but you never got back to me. No worries, I totally understand it. Anyway, you got a little job from you, and I'll pay this time. Just hit 300 followers on my stream. Well done. And I'm going to celebrate by getting a new new PC. Going to need something that crushes any game I throw at it, but I don't have a massive budget. Oh shit, there's a budget. Where have we gotten to on the budget? I bet I've already crushed it. Yep. Oh, do you know what? Ignore his fucking budget. He'll be happy. Oh, by the way, thinking of building a separate machine for streaming, so I might hit you up about that later. Brilliant idea if you ever get a chance to do it. Get a capture card, stick it into a separate computer, and stream from one computer to the other. I can't afford it. I wish I could, but I'd love to do that at some point. Oh no, I need to put the dust filter on first. Also, the dust filter going on is a weird thing. It is on Steam. Yep. It's on Steam tiers, and it's quite cheap at the moment, I think. Cool. Other than cables, I think we're good to go. Yeah. So what should we think? Like red MSI graphics card? Should we go with red cables? I think so. Yeah, braided ones. Also, this is the worst. Can I just point out, there's something beautiful in this world, okay? And it's called cable tidying. This is the worst cable tidying ever. Whoever built this game didn't realise it. I mean, this cable's just going to flap about the place as soon as a bit of air fucking hits it. It needs to come round the back and through one of these grommets. And then you've got this cable hovering here for no reason. Just push it out the side there and around the back. It's just ugly. But you can't do anything about it, because that's how the game wants it. Piece of shit. Right, this PC should be ready to go anyway. So, I'm just going to stick in a USB drive so we can install an operating system, and we're going to power it up. There we go, it's looking all good. Screen's turned on, it's installing the operating system. And then if you ever wondered what these numbers are, these can give you error codes or different state codes. So I'm sure if we search what 32 was on this particular motherboard, if this was an actual motherboard, it would probably tell us that everything's fine. Everything's groovy. But yeah, there we go. PC can boot, everything's cool. He's going to hate that I've gone massively over budget, and he's probably going to score me low for it, but I don't give a shit, because he's going to love his computer. It could do with having some red RGB to go with his new red look. Because at the moment you've got purple there, they're either not setting off any RGB colours or they're just white. They're just white. Look at all this. Let's go to a sexy red, shall we? Look at that! Come on, that's cool. Who wouldn't want that case? It's beautiful. Cool. You ready for him to rate me low because I went well over budget? I don't care. Be happy. Oh no, still give me 5 stars. Well. That's cool with me. I'm not complaining. Okay. So we've just got a couple of computers in transit for tomorrow, and we're still waiting for the i7-7700K to be released. It doesn't even exist yet in this game yet. I know it does in real life. But it's AMD, i3s, i5s, Celerons, ugh. 6700K, 6700. No. What a shame. Oh well. You wouldn't want that case. Do you know what, Huel? We'll shop for you. How about that? So let's have a look at it. I know you're not an RGB fan. You're not an LED fan at all. So let's build Huel's computer. So Huel, I want to know from you. I mean, maybe something like this. The Be Quiet silent case. Maybe in black. Nice, smooth. What kind of case would you like? Do you like that Be Quiet one? I'm trying to look for something else that feels like... You wanted just an all-black case. Windowless, ideally. I think that Be Quiet one's the only real all-black sort of case. Or maybe the Silverstone one. But it's got coloured accents. Just what, all-black case. We're not getting that shitty little Silverstone one. That looks like an all-black case, so we're going to give you that case. And, Huel, are you an Intel or AMD fanboy in processors? And I'm pretty sure you're an NVIDIA fanboy when it comes to graphics cards. Plenty of room for hard drives and SSDs and disk drives. We're going to build you the most best computer. Don't worry. I'm pretty sure you're NVIDIA for graphics cards, but are you Intel or AMD fan? Let me know. Whichever is most useful. Okay, so you're not bothered. I'm going to be biased then and get you a Ryzen 7 1800X. I've got 9 in my inventory anyway. Want a Voodoo 2? Ooh, who the Voodoo 2? What a Voodoo 2? Who Voodoo 2 who? I'm going to build your computer for you, Huel. Anyway, let's start the next day. Your case is here. I've also got... Oh yeah, check them out, some RGB fans. And some SP120s. Nice. You want one of the earliest 3D graphics cards. Oh! Jesus Christ. What, have you just got one lying about? Is that why you're saying it? Jesus, what was the graphics card I went super nutso on having? The 9800 GT. NVIDIA 9800 GT. remember getting that and feeling so fucking proud because at the time the only graphics card that could play Crisis in high was the 8800 GT, and the 9800 was like the step above it. And I was so fucking proud because I could play Crisis and Max. That computer's so old now, and it's like somewhere in a dumpster, I'm sure. I've had another computer since that. Oh, I've had another 2 computers since that one. Jesus. What are we doing? We're diagnosing and fixing. I don't know why I'm undoing the case yet. Okay, well, it's not powering on at all, so that's a sign that it's either the processor or the... When you accidentally press the wrong button because you got macro keys on your keyboard. Sorry. 4 megabytes of RAM. Gosh, 90 megahertz clock. Oh wow, that's pretty cool actually. Let's see what's wrong with this one. This one does turn on, but there's no image at all, which tells me it's the graphics card. Oh, this is a weird case. Oh, well, I wonder which graphics card it is. It must be the one with nothing fucking on it. But we're going to have to make sure we've got an RX 480 game in 4G. Which I don't know if I have. No. MSI, RX, R80, 4G. Because he needs to SLI them, so they need to be the same. For 88 gig. Is it the Gaming X 4G? Or no, it's the RX 480. Just yeah, isn't it? But yeah, it's got a Gaming X one there because it's in the same brand. They can SLI quite easily together. Okay, let's get my Gaming X version. Give him a little bit of an upgrade. This one's not turning on at all. So your first guess is the power supply. It's got a shit little 450 watt. Speaking of which, I think I'm running out of power supplies. I need to make a bulk order of power supplies, I think. There we go. Should be plenty there. Let's keep me going for a bit. So install power supply. Yeah, there we go, it's broken. Knew it. Ooh, wonder if he wants any particular... What's his name? Old Peter. Old Peter. Cooler Master... Well, you're not getting a Cooler Master. Fuck you. But he said nothing about particular cable colours or anything he wants. Let's have a look. He's got a particularly black case. There's a few white accents, so... I want to bring out those white accents then, shall we? Let's bring out those white accents beautifully. There we go. We're back up and running. And then, of course, the pièce de résistance. I don't think there's a window on it, but can't always tell from a picture, I'm afraid. There you go, Huel. Nice and black. Never ask how stupid someone is, because they'll turn around and show you. Oh my god. I don't want to know. That sounds like something that's happened in your past and you don't... Actually, it's probably something I've done now, I'm thinking about it. I probably would be the kind of person to show you how stupid I was doing something. Oh, what a weird front panel thing. Oh, because it opens up in case you want any optical drives, which I think you would, but unfortunately we can't install optical drives on this because it's stupid. I like optical drives. I still have a DVD drive, and I'm upgrading to a Blu-ray one. Just saying. Looks like a decent case. It looks like your kind of case. So building Huel's master computer, and like I said, an AMD fangirl. So let's get a beautiful gigabyte Aorus motherboard. Never approach a ball from the front, a horse from the back, and a fool from any direction. What was it someone said to me? If you get into a fight with anybody at a, I mean, it doesn't work with women as much as it works with men, but if you ever get into a fight in a pub or something with somebody, just pull your trousers down and run at them and try to hug them. Just, they'll run away. You don't have to worry about the fight. It's true. Right, Ryzen 7 1800X. The best Ryzen processor at the time. Because when's this based at the moment? March 2018. Hell yeah, I'm an AMD fangirl. Not on graphics cards. Only on processors. Sorry, Nvidia will always have that on graphics cards. Now you don't need a Kraken. It's RGB. You don't need RGB, but Cooler Master is a hell of a good company. Better than NZXT in my mind. So let's get you an NZXT one. Let's just figure out. It would have to be top mounted, I'm sure, if we're going to have a big double water cooler. My favourite wisdom from a kung fu movie is when fighting an angry blind man, stay out of his way. That's true. Do you remember Robin Hood Men in Tights and the blind guy in that? I think he just like was beating up like a banister rail for like half an hour. He would stop for breath halfway through. Oh man, I love that film. Yeah, best case for you scenario. I know what you mean. Like, I love my Nvidia so much. Nvidia's just like, I just love them. I know I'm just being biased, but Nvidia. Let's see, let's get you some maglev fans. Best Corsair has to offer. Oh, think you're a 120 in here, not a 140. I don't have any maglev 140s. Got SP 120s, which they're okay. What else have we got? Everything's RGB. We'll just turn the RGB to black. How about that, Huel? That way you won't have RGB. Don't worry about it. I'm here. I'm going to sort it all out. I was about to say it doesn't have a front load. It does have a front load. See, now if this was a normal case, a normal computer, there'd be space for one here, which there is. But it won't let me put a freaking fan there. Okay. Now, memory. See if I've got any 16 gig sticks. Let's get you 32 gigabytes of RAM. Ooh. This Team Group T-Force Dark. That looks good. So we're going to open every memory clip here. We're going to populate the entire thing. Like I said, it's going to pick them up one channel at a time. So first this channel. Then it'd pick up this channel. So it'd go 16, 32, 48. Yeah, 32 plus 16 is 48. Yeah, 64 gigs of RAM. I can't do maths. There we go. Beautiful 64 gigs of RAM, which is more than most people ever need. But if you're rendering out, editing and stuff, that does speed things up. So, you know. Okay, you're gonna love me now, Huel. Graphics cards. Let's see what I've got here. How about that? Dual MSI GTX 1070 Gaming Z 8 gig cards. SLI'd. By the way, I've got like a 1070 myself. It's a dual card, so it's like an SLI card in one. I fucking love it. But it's kind of weird when you sort things out because obviously how the VRAM separates itself is so weird. But it still works the same way. There we go. Now that's sexy. But oh, don't worry, you're not even going to see any of the RGB that's coming off it because a lot of things just come pre-RGB'd these days. Going to need a good PSU. 750 watts should be enough. But you also wanted plenty of storage space. So first things first. Let's get you a 1TB Corsair series SSD. 2 1TB Corsair SSDs, how about that? Sexy. And then of course you need even more storage than that. Jesus. Do I have any of the 4TB hard drives? I have 2, 3. How many SATA ports have you got on this thing? Can't even fucking see them. Okay, let's assume 4 and then maybe move up to 6 if we can. That makes sense, doesn't it? So, 4TB there. 4TB there. So that's 4, 8, 9, 10TB of storage. 2 of them being SSDs, so they're super fast for you. And then cables, you don't want anything special, so let's just do plain black. So that is the... because that just shows like there's 2. I know there's more than 2. What the hell's that installing to? Do you know what? I don't know. Is the answer. I'll try and connect another hard disk drive. No. We're out of power ports. Let's just disconnect these for now. Yes, that gives us an extra power port. So sorry, due to power restrictions, you're down to what, 4, 5, 6 terabytes? That's not bad though. That's not bad at all. No optical drive because you can't install them on this, but this still looks sexy as hell. So let's put it back together. Oh, is there a dust filter? Just the one, I think that's the front one anyway. No? Where the fuck is that dust filter come from? Oh. It needs the front panel one first? It's a weird case. Oh, it slots in. Oh, that's pretty cool actually. Because then you could just pull it out to clean it. That's awesome. It lives! It doesn't live! I've done something wrong! It's not turning on. Oh god. What have I done wrong? Oh, there we go. I didn't plug in the didn't plug in the button to turn it on. It lives! And like I said, I'm going to sort out this RGB heal, don't you worry. So let's just install the operating system. It uses Omega on this because it's just bullshit. I have the 800 base, which is extremely easy to clean. Oh, is that your case? My case is the shittiest thing in the world. In fact, I'll show you a bit of my case because I can disconnect it fairly easily. And it's got a story behind it, and I just hurt myself on one of the fans. Luckily fans don't hurt that much. And it's this. This is a front shield off my case, and you can see these beautiful circular holes, which didn't exist at all. Nope, they didn't. These were actually drilled, and you can kind of tell if you zoom in, you can see how badly it's done. These were drilled by my dad, because the airflow to the front of my computer is absolute and utter shite. It really is. And I mean really shite. So, fair play to my dad, he drilled these out for me, so the airflow to the fans of the front of my computer is nice and good, and it did make a massive difference. Because I turned around to him and said, look, I'm going to have to just keep that front panel off if you don't try and drill it. And he said, well, I'll try and drill it, but if it breaks, it's not my fault. And I went, I don't blame you. I really don't. Huel, your PC is complete. I'll pop it into here for now. And I'll end the day because I can't do anything else. Oh, I need to diagnose. Oh no, I've done that. Not going to end the day because I need to sort my emails first. Where's old Peter? Collect your computer. Ignored your budget. Didn't have any other power supplies. Fuck you. Works, isn't it? Freemail.com. When's the last time you saw freemail.com? Glue tights over the holes. That's such a good idea. But I don't want it to reduce the RGB-ness. Doesn't have any more recent AMD RXs. I mean, I gave you Nvidia. Did you want an AMD graphics card? Oh no, it doesn't at the moment. It has got AMD RX. I'm sure I've got some AMD RXs in here. Oh no, I've got the Radeon R9s, which was a fucking good thing. Yeah, it hasn't gotten the most recent stuff yet, but I know you can get up to the i7 4700, but you can't even get any, not i7, Ryzen 7 4700, but you can't get any Ryzen 9 processors yet. Depends on the day and year of the tights, I know, but I like my computer as it is, and I do keep it fairly clean. I clean it myself a lot, and I just like it. But I am going to try and endeavour to get a new case. I want a Corsair case, because I just love Corsair. I love Corsair. They're so good. Need to replace your processor. What processor have you got that needs replacing? i5 6500. Nope, don't have one of them. Add a few, so then I've got some in storage. Diagnose and fix. It's getting a bit hot. Could it be the dust? Couldn't be. And you think you visited one too many dodgy sites, so you need a virus scan. I know. I'm quite happy with. Yeah, no, I understand how Deniotitis works. I'm just quite happy with how it looks at the moment. To be honest with you, I'm perfectly happy with it. I like how open it is and the airflow and stuff, and I know it wouldn't reduce the airflow that much, but I just like it. I like showing off all the RGB on it. Trust me, it's a pure vomit of RGB. It sickens Huel every time he sees it. He's like, too many lights. Daughter likes to take the RAM out. You love some plastic green cables, yeah. Send it over. I feel like I need a bit more of an inventory. One of these days I'm not accidentally going to press that button, it's going to be much better, isn't it? It's going to be a lot better. Yeah, it's food for thought, definitely. And it does make sense, it's a little cable modding trick that's worth thinking about. I just love how mine is at the moment. I don't want to overcomplicate things, I like it. It's me. I'm one of these people that's just like, I like things my way or the highway. It's just the kind of person I am. Let's see here. We are running a bit short on Mobos. Got really expensive motherboards, but none of the cheap shit. That should keep me going for a while. What the hell is this music? Don't need to go to Bollywood. Ooh, braided purple cables. Fair enough. Yeah, no, I just like our manners. Everybody's got sort of like a pride for their own computer, don't they? And just don't want to modify things when you don't want to sometimes. It's one of those things. But it's definitely a good idea, and yeah, I can see people wanted to use it. Cool, got some more computers. These, we're waiting for parts for these ones, so let's just put these to one side. RGB cables. See, I haven't got a modular power supply, but I have seen them. That's a bit too far, in my opinion, when it comes to RGB. My thing is RGB blur, honestly. I mean, I don't know if... I think I've got a picture of my computer. Let me see if I can find it. Probably be under here. PC. I think that's... These are older pictures, aren't they? Yeah, these are older. I mean, like, there's more RGB on it now. But I will show you these. I think I can do so. There we go. So that is it. I've now got a RGB air fan as well. But yeah, this is RG. So that's my GTX 1070. And that's a picture that's not loading. There we go. Yeah, so they're Corsair Maglift RGB fans. Oh, thank you, Kanata. And then those look like Trident Z RAM. It's not. It's a kit that you put on top of your cheap RAM to give it a heatsink and to make it look more RGB filled. Unfortunately, there's ketchup and mustard cables from the cheap ass fucking power supply I've got. With hard pipe looking. Oh gosh, no, I'm not water cooling manually. I don't trust myself in doing that. I do a closed circuit loop maybe, but I'm fine with air cooling at the moment. But yeah, up there is my sound card. So that's a Sound Blaster Z. I know people like sound cards are so old-fashioned, but you know, 5.1 surround sound and high fidelity sound. Not to mention its own processor built inside of the sound card to stop any of your processor having to take over the sound operation. Just improves your processor's performance. Think about it. That huge Asus card is better seen on this picture. That is a Asus GTX 1070 dual card, which I fucking love. Underneath it, that beautiful block of RGB there is actually an M.2 drive holder, so it converts your PCIe slot to M.2, which is great. It works beautifully. You can use a bike pump to test for leaks before even filling. I still don't trust myself. I don't trust myself doing my own water cooling pumps. No chance. Never will. I'm also not very handy. I can do things where there's a nice place and things, but under there you see that big ugly green card. That is the TV capture card, which is capturing the GameCube whenever I turn it on. It's a WinTV HVR 1400, I want to say. So it can capture TV, AV, S-video. It can even pick up radio, believe it or not. One of those things. And then under there is just a USB extension. I've got a new USB extension port instead of that one now. So yeah, But personal use air cooling, yeah, I've got an air cooler. I've got this huge ass thing, but again, it's under here and I can't move it. And then I've just got a sticker there that just shows how gay I am. And this little bit of blue up here is my surround sound system, which I can probably show you guys without worrying too much. So I've got this speaker here, and then there's one there, and a couple under the bed, which I don't know if you can see. No, you can't. So that's my surround sound system, and it all works beautifully together. I love it. Looking at AIO in the future. I used to have an AIO in... Gosh, I wonder if I've got a picture of that one. I'm just going to turn off the view just in case I've got some inappropriate pictures in there. See if I can show you Sturmy. So Sturmy was my... So this is RG, which is short for RGBTQ+. Yes, my computer's gay. Everything about me is gay, so my computer's going to be gay, isn't it? I think it might be in here. RG, the old pictures of RG. Of Sturmy, sorry. Sturmy was my computer beforehand, so it was called... Oh, there's Sturmy. Ah, Sturmy. Oh my gosh, Sturmy. It's Sturmy. This is just like a blast from the past for me. So this is the computer I had before. Now this had AIO water cooling. So that is the Stormtrooper, Sturmy. It's my mum called it the Stormtrooper, obviously due to how it looks. And it got renamed to the Stormtrooper because my favourite singer's Lacey Sturm, and I had a huge sticker down one side, which was just plain white side, so I just put this sticker on it. Worked really well with it, of Lacey Sturm. So it turned into the Stormtrooper, because one day I will marry Lacey Sturm. I don't really have any decent... I don't think I've got any photos there that need hiding, particularly. I don't think I've got any decent pictures of the inside of it. Kind of this one, I guess, but it's dusty and horrible. This is before I really took half a look at the dust on that. But there we had some Corsair XMS RAM, so it's 32 gigs of RAM. And you can see the AIO water cooler that I had on the Corsair before. That underneath there was a 980 Ti graphics card, which at the time was one of the newer, bigger things. And you can see I matched it with some blue SATA cables. Yeah, it was alright. It was an AMD FX 8320 processor, if I believe so. I've got 8350, so I've done a minor little upgrade. I had to sell the computer to pay for bills, believe it or not. I got that bad in the scenario I was in at the time, but I'm a lot better these days. You can tell how old the motherboard is by the fact it still has an IDE ribbon cable connector. That's like so old. Oh my god. Jesus, that's Sturmy. Sturmy was great. Sturmy was great, and I know that Huel has kicked himself ever since, because I always give him my hand-me-downs, and he's never obtained Sturmy off me, and I'm sure he's sitting there going, gosh, you built a new computer and you didn't give me Sturmy, how dare you? But, no, I mean, Sturmy was great, and then Jot, who's a friend of ours, I built his computer, so I took a picture of the parts before I built it. So this was his computer, so he also... At the time, I had a 980 Ti. He had a 980 Ti. I got him a GTX 980 Ti, SP20 Corsair red fans, because he was going for a red theme. SP20s are fantastic little fans, actually. Corsair fans are just beautiful. Then he had a 256 gig SSD. He also had a 4TB hard disk drive from Oak, which is what's in that brown box there. VS650 Corsair power supplies, always the best. Copy Windows 10 is necessary. Obviously, these days I tend to use not as reliable sites, let's call them that. And then you can see the XMS3 RAM that he used as well. I think he got 16 gigs of RAM, I had 32. And then there's a Blu-ray combo drive, and he still uses that computer. It got called Darth Maul. It's black with red, and it's a beautiful case. I'm actually quite jealous of his build. He's got a beautiful, beautiful build. But it was a partially pre-built system, so a bare-bones system. So you already had the NZXT, AIO water cooler, and the processor, which was a 4320 processor, AMD FX 4320, so a 4-core rather than 8-core. He didn't need as much power as I did. Already built into it, and that's because I wasn't so sure on my abilities to put in processors, because I'd messed up a couple. But I'm good these days. I am definitely good these days. back to the game. But yeah, that NZXT thing, I guess, does somewhat remind me of Jot's computer. Oh, maybe I've been too loud. Okay. So what we got here, we got an i5 6500, and I think last time I checked I didn't have one. Ordered one in, but 6600 isn't massively different, and it's slightly better, so it's not going to worry about it. Your first two builds were on the same day. Built a socket 939 and a 775 at the same time. My first build was a 775 build. Socket 775, I think it was, and what was it, like an Intel Celeron dual core, which was, it was around the time that dual cores had first been released, and it was wow, over the top. Oh, Keekstar, thank you very much for the follow. Welcome to the cult. So 6600. Hi Keekstar, hello, welcome. Cool, so that's his processor. Oh, do you know Keekstar, Kira? She's your ESO gaming buddy. Oh, well, awesome, welcome. Make her join our cult. Make her join our cult. Get more people on board. Oh, well, thank you for referring people to my stream. That's so nice of you. You got pins and needles in your fucking leg. Well, stop fucking with that leg and try the other one. I'm such a twat. Kill you, Stacy. Cool. Don't sit there and be like, oh, I've got pins and needles in my leg, it's so bad. I dislocated mine, try that. You want to know what pins and needles feels like? Try it then. Have fun. Now you're gonna go, oh, for fuck's sake, Stacey, you always bring this up every time I mention there's some sort of pain in my leg. Yeah, I do. Until you feel that pain. I had a woman, don't play word games with me, y'all. I had this woman come up to me the other day, and she was like, oh, what did you do? Because I know you weren't, because, you know, she used to see me at work all the time. She said, oh, no, you weren't here for a while. I said, oh, I dislocated my knee. She went, oh, I did that, you know. I'm telling you, it's worse pain than childbirth. I was like, what? I don't think it's anywhere near that, but I feel very blessed that you think it's that bad. Oh, look at that redness. That's beautiful. There we go. Computer's all good. Oh, hang on. Did he want anything special? What was his name? Scotty B. She's a streamer too. Well, Keekstar, jump onto the cult. There's a link to the cult. Should work. There we go. Join our cult. It's a group of community streamers. We are all wonderfully helping each other. There's also things like servers and stuff there that you can join other people who are also streaming, and you just share the streaming love around. In fact, I was watching Huel's stream. He's part of the cult just before this stream. Join it. It's such a good little place, and you can advertise yourself on there. It's great. Honestly, join the cult. What was his name? Scotty B, that was it. Scotty B. No smoke. I swear my PC won't run anymore. 1500. Some say it's a bit laggy. I tried to overclock the CPU. Well, I've improved the CPU slightly, so we might be happy with that. Cool. He can have his. What have I forgotten? Oh no, I just haven't moved it. Okay. Love meeting other streamers who are supportive of each other. Honestly, that is all the cult is. I've never met a more supportive group of people. They've just been fantastic from the first day. And like, I was there really early on. And from that point, it was just so good. It's such a nice place. Last night, you were running around ESO with Keeks, little one, on ESO, helping him learn the ropes. Oh, bless. That's a stream. That's a stream. Your kid's first. You have to like put on some retro games and say like, "This is my kid's first Mario" or something. Oh my god, there's your stream idea. Swear to God, I'd watch that. That'd be hilarious. 5-starred me. And what did we have here? This one needs diagnosing and fixing. Oh, it's turning on. That's a good sign. No RAM, so the RAM's broken. Hey, it's Huel's case. Okay. What an ugly set of cables. Blech. So it's 8 gig stick of RAM. And it will probably come up here, broken, so let's sell it. A SATA, I think we've got some of those. That was them. 8 gigs. Perfect. Who needs RAM anyways? Yeah, just without it your computer can't function, but that's fine. You don't need something that stores all the information on your computer while it's currently being used or anything, you know? Like, how could you write a Word document when it can't even load Word? There we go. Press the button again. I press the button again. Let me explain this to you. Here is my computer keyboard. Oh, sexy. I'm on a menu on said game. Ooh, game, sexy. So I go escape. But sometimes I accidentally press this button, which changes what's on the stream. So I apologise when I've been doing that. Okay. So who needs a CPU anyway? Puffed, who needs a PSU? They're all necessary, so... States we're slowly teaching Keeks the tech of PC world. So explain each shorthand so as we go. Okay, we can teach here. You're doing the unboxing this weekend. Oh, are you building your own computer, Keeks? Well, this is the perfect place then, because this is going to teach you how to build a computer. I mean, you got brought to the right place. No two ways about it. Well, let's have a look at this other computer here then. Let's see what we can do. So this needs to be diagnosed. So a lot of diagnosis can, if you ever have any issues on a computer, can be figured out just by trying to turn it on. This one won't turn on. So that means it's one or two things. So I know this isn't really what you want to build. There will be a build later on, I'm sure. Somebody will ask me to build something under. So first things first, keep your fucking computer clean. Jesus Christ, compressed air is the best thing you can get in Poundland. It's cheap. Honestly. Just throw away the motherboard, it's totally extra. How would you even do that? How would you do that? Because there'd be nothing to mount anything onto. Oh well. Guess you could just mount it straight onto the fucking case. Right. That's sexy now. So one or two things could affect the computer if it's not turning on at all. Literally only one of these two things. Otherwise the computer would boot and you'd be able to check through things like the BIOS to see what's the issue. So the most obvious one obviously is how the power is being distributed to different parts of your computer, because it needs something to store that power and to put it to different parts and to maintain how much power comes in and leaves. It tends not to be used fully, so whenever you build a computer you need to find out how much power you need. Go to a website like I've forgotten the name of it now. Google PSU calculator. I'll explain that, don't worry. Google PSU calculator and find out put in all the components that you've got on your computer into it, and it'll tell you what power supply you need as a minimum. It will say something like, oh, you need 537 watts. And if you read that, you go, right, let's have a look at what you can buy. Well, you can buy 500 watts and you can buy 550 watts. You need 537, go for 550. Your computer will never, ever really use that entire amount unless it absolutely has to. And it will just sort of throttle between it to try and be more power efficient for you. Literally, that's the only reason it does it. PSU power supply unit, yeah, sorry. I am being not as explanatory as I should be. So your power supply unit is this big thing at the bottom here that's got all the cables connected to it. So we need to disconnect all these cables. So there's two different types of power supplies. CPU. Actually, it's central processing unit, Kira. Just saying. Oh, good night, Reboot. Thank you, Reboot Beard. Hashtag Reboot Beard. Thank you for watching. It's been really fun to have so many people on here. I've got 7 people viewing. I don't know why. But thank you. It's really nice of you guys. Oh, and the lemons. Thank you so much, Reboot. It's been awesome having you. And it's great to sort of be back to streaming. I've missed it. Good night. So there's two types of power supplies is what I was going to say, and it depends what you have. There's no right or wrong one, don't worry. These are what's called modular power supplies. So normal power supplies will have cables built into them and you can't remove them. Modular, you also have semi-modular, which is sort of a mix between the two. And then modular is completely open and you can plug any cables you want, which allows you to have custom cables and more fancier things. So he's got a fan of these yellow cables. Same thing. See if he wants any different cables, because sometimes they ask for it. Used a what? Used a... No, I don't want anything in particular, so let's give him some yellow cables. So, as it was explained before, it just... Power supply, all it does is distribute power to different parts of your computer. So as you can see, there's loads of cables going to different things. But I'm sure if I get a chance to build another computer, which I probably will before the end of the stream, you'll get a better understanding of how it works. And now we can see the computer's turning on. But as Kira was saying, explain BIOS. Can't remember what BIOS stands for. I know the OS stands for operating system. This is a BIOS, and on every computer you've got one. So when you turn on a computer, it will say hold down F2, hold down delete, hold down F12 for the BIOS, one of these buttons. And inside it you can see a tile list of everything that happens. You can overclock, so this will allow me to overclock the RAM. Never overclock RAM. It's just, you don't get much of a boost from overclocking RAM. Overclocking CPU. Do a Ryzen build. I will do. You never get much of a boost from overclocking RAM. Overclocking processors are better, and that's just boosting the amount of times the clock of something, because it goes in a rotation of how it picks up the data and works it. Boosting that, making it work faster. You don't have to do that, that's one of these things. It's also got one other thing, which is boot devices. So you can see here, you can choose between boot devices. This person's only got one hard disk drive. You can get hard disk drive, you can get solid state, you can get M.2, they're just different types of hard drives. M.2 is always the best, then you've got solid state, then you have got a mix between hard disk drive and solid state, which is something called an SSHD, solid state hard disk drive. And those essentially will figure out what programs and apps are being used the most and cache them into the solid state portion of it to make it faster. So it will speed things up, but you'll find your computer getting faster over time rather than being fast from the moment you turn it on. SSD is always better for just turning it on, or M.2 is even better than that, just turning it on and making it work straight away. Gonna discard changes in case I did change anything there. But yeah, it's just a way for you to have some sort of overview of your computer and make sure it's all working. Okay, well it is all working. We're going to have to unplug that so I can put the PSU mount back in. And then I might do a Ryzen build for you. There we go. So let's build a Ryzen computer. We have got one case here. So let's make a Ryzen build. Right. So imagine this is your case. Keeks. Oh. Hang on. Hello? 1 minute. Test. Hello? 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 Oh gosh, I'm back. Okay, sorry, something went weird with my headset there. Okay, back to where we were. Say you were doing a Ryzen build, and this is your build, for example. First thing you need to make sure is that your motherboard does support a Ryzen processor. The newer Ryzen processors use AM4 sockets or AM4 Plus. You can double check, just Google what the processor is, and it will tell you what socket it's due for. Then you need to match the socket with the processor. Let's get a bit of a nicer one. I don't have a nicer one. I'll have to use a micro ATX board. Micro ATX, ATX, ITX, they're just sizes of boards. Doesn't really necessarily matter, just depends. Just make sure that you've got the right thing for your build. So if you wanted something with loads of expandability and stuff, you might need a larger one. Night Connoisseur, thank you so much again for the host. You're always so lovely to me. I love you to pieces. Thank you so much. So, first thing when you install a motherboard, I've made the game automatically do this for me, so you'll see these weird things come up. They're called motherboard standoffs. You need to put them in to your case before you put your motherboard on. So get your motherboard out, hover over your case, find out where all the holes are that you need to screw it in, and screw in those particular standoffs. The standoffs stop the electronic metal parts from the back of your motherboard from touching your case, therefore short-circuiting it. So you can see quickly there's all the standoffs being put in, and then the case on top, and then of course you just screw the motherboard on top, and then you just screw the motherboard into place. Nice and easy. So then you would have this big central thing. See if I can move up. So this here is the socket, the AM4 socket, the socket for your processor. And somewhere along this, you can't see it that well, is a little triangle, which will help you match up how you're going to install your processor. So if we have a look at a processor now, let's get a Ryzen processor, 1800X, really powerful processor there. You can see there's a little yellow triangle, and if you find the triangle that's matching on the socket, you just match the two together, put them together, and you know you've got it in the right place. Just make sure you've pulled up this handle first before trying to put it in, otherwise you'll break your processor, because you might try and push down on the pins, which isn't a good idea. Should go in very easily. If it doesn't, you're doing something wrong. So it should just drop in like that, and then you can close the CPU handle. You'll feel a bit of tension against it, but you'll be fine. Close the handle to make sure that the processor's locked in place. At which point, if you want to 100% make sure, you should even be able to turn your computer upside down and make sure it doesn't fall out. It'll be perfectly fine. Next thing you need is thermal paste. So this is a thermal conductive paste which you put between your cooler and your processor. And that just makes sure that the heat conducts between the two very easily. Issue with it is it does sometimes conduct electricity, and that's not a good thing. So make sure when you apply your thermal paste, you only put on about that much. Good night, Huel. It's just a late stream, don't worry about it. It's because I've gotten used to being up a bit later now, that's all. So, good night. Thank you for joining us. Bye, Huel. So you only want about that much thermal paste on it. You don't want much more, because the more you put on it, the more chance it's got to spill over and touch the contacts behind the processor, electrocuting things in you. It's just going to mess everything up. So only just a small little drop, because that little drop will spread out evenly when you put your cooler on top. Coolers are weird. That's the only way to describe them. They are weird. Some of them will go on very easily. So if you see this, these are what's called clip brackets, which are quite common with AMD boards. You might have a clip cooler, which literally just pops in and clips over the top. Makes things a lot easier if you've got one of them, but don't worry if you don't. If you don't, you need to unscrew these bits here, opening these little holes. And if you've got a cooler that has a backplate on it, you need to install the backplate, and then the two should go together nicely. So for now, I've shown a couple of water coolers. Let's just put on a air cooler. There we go. I don't know if it's going to show any particular backplate on this being installed. It has actually. So that there is the backplate, so you'd be able to go around the back of your case, even build it outside of the case if you want, build the motherboard together and put these things on there before you put it in your case. It's even easier to do that. Just make sure that you put your motherboard on something that's non-conductive. Best non-conductive thing you can get is the box that the motherboard came in. Doesn't conduct electricity, it's brilliant. So just put it on top of the motherboard, put it on top of the box and build everything onto it. And you can put the processor, you can put the cooler, and you can put your RAM in there whilst it's like that. Nice and easy. So your next thing is your RAM. So what you'll see is, in most motherboards, is different coloured RAM slots here. Rule of thumb, always go for the one closest to the cooler to begin with, but make sure that you match the colours up. So if it's black and dark grey, you put RAM on black slots, or the dark grey slots. Or if you've got 4 sticks of RAM, don't worry about it, just put it across all 4. So in this example I use 2, so we'll just use the black slots. Should always start from the one closest to the cooler. So, RAM. We'll just put some of this Corsair Dominator in. There we go. And that one, literally you just pull open those little clips, these clips that I showed you here, and then when you put in the RAM, you just push it until it clicks, and the clips will come back up and click it into place. If it hasn't done that, you've not done it well enough, but always give it a little push on each side just to make sure it's in properly. I always do, it's just a little thing, you don't have to do it, but just to make sure everything's in properly, that's all. So I usually leave the graphics card to last when I build. So next thing would be your power supply unit, which we were talking about before, the PSU, which I don't have a spare one of at the moment. So we're going to say fuck that until one comes in. Sorry. So we'll go to the other thing. So next thing is your storage. So you've got, like I said, 4 different types of hard drives, but we'll say 3 to make it easier. I've got lots of broken hard drives in here that I need to get rid of. Okay. So you've got hard disk drives, which are these big fat things here, and then you've got SSDs, which are these small things here. Get an SSD. You won't regret it. It's the best thing in the world. It just starts your computer up like that. It's so much better. Hard disk drive is like when you used to have those computers where you have to go downstairs, make yourself a coffee, and then come back up and it'll be loaded. You don't need to do that. With these, they just turn on. I have an SSD in my computer. I have a... No, I'm getting tired. I have a M.2 SSD. So M.2s we'll start with, in case you have one of them. Do you see this little black slot here? All you got to do is slot it in, and you'll notice it pings out. It's sort of like on an angle. So if that was your motherboard, don't know, find something. If that was your motherboard, you put your M.2 slot in, and it would ping out like that. You can easily push it down so it's flat, and then whilst it's flat, all you got to do is just screw it into whatever screw hole it aligns with. It'll automatically align to the right one for you. Oh, sorry, Kira. So just make sure, just screw it in, as simple as that, and it's done. You may have on your motherboard a shroud over the top of it. If you find it says M.2 somewhere, just remove the shroud and find it, or sometimes it's even on the back of the motherboard, which is a better reason to build your motherboard outside of your case. That's something you can install before you put it into the case. But like I said, unfortunately, I don't have an M.2 drive to show you, so we're going to pop in an SSD and a hard disk drive. So SSDs are thinner and smaller, so they tend, in fact, I can show you a hard drive that's probably the same size as an SSD, because I've got a little drive caddy here. So there's a hard disk drive, but this is the same size as an SSD. It's the kind of hard drive you'd get in a laptop. But it's the same sort of size and thickness as this. So if you've got something that's this size and this thick, but without all this horrible writing on the front of it, it's probably an SSD. These sometimes have special little mounting holes. I'm falling asleep. So sometimes you can, if you want to, mount it in the drive bay. This one does support it, because you can see there's 4 little holes there, but because the game's stupid, it's not letting you do that. Or you may have a special area to put it, and this one's got a special area. So we're just going to pop it into there. You can see it's been mounted. You can choose which side. Yeah, it is almost sleepy time. You can choose which side you want to put it on. If you want to look at it, if you don't, it's up to you. We're nearly done, don't worry. And if you had a hard disk drive, that instead would go into one of these bays, because it's much bigger. And then it's usually somewhere where you can tuck it away nicely. Lastly, we'll go to the graphics card. Obviously, we need to put a power supply in, but I haven't got one yet on this game to use. So make sure that you pull out these. These are just little slots to try and tidy things up. If you look after them, you should be able to put them back in. If not, you can buy spare ones to put in to most computers. It's really easy. Find your graphics card. So let's use a... I need to stop yawning. It's getting too late. Let's use a R9390. Everything has a little home. Yeah. So you have on here these slots here. So these are your PCI slots. This is also a PCIe slot. Both, all of them are PCIe slots, even that short one, which makes things confusing. I understand. But you have something called PCIe times 1, PCIe times 4, PCIe times 8, and PCIe times 16. Confusing, but the only ones you're ever really going to need to worry about is PCIe times 16 and PCIe times 1, which is exactly what this board has. So the top one's a PCIe times 16 slot. This means that every single lane, all 16 lanes inside that little... Yeah, I know, it gets confusing. Don't worry. PCIe times 16 just means that every single lane inside that entire slot is drawing power and drawing electricity through it. So you need a 16 slot for something as powerful as a graphics card because it needs to draw all that power from it. Whereas the one slot, you might find that you have little things like something like this. This is a capture card. This isn't PCIe times 1. This is a old-fashioned PCI. Don't worry about that, so ignore that. But something like a small capture card or USB ports or something like that would use a times 1 slot. But for a graphics card, make sure it's always this big, juicy one, and usually the one at the top as well, because that's usually the most powerful. That's usually your PCIe times 16 slot. There are a few little other things. Cables. So on your motherboard, unfortunately I can't show you because I haven't got a power supply in here. But on your motherboard you have two places to power your motherboard. You have this big fat thing, I can't remember the full name of these things, so there's the big fat thing and then a big square thing. The big fat one, you'll have a big fat cable that goes in it, straightforward. And then this one, you might have a cable that splits into two. No idea where it goes. That looked like the sound card. Yes, I have a sound card. In fact, I still might have that picture up somewhere. Yeah, here we go. Let me see if I can get this picture back up for you. Just bear with me. There we go. So this is my computer here. And I have a sound card. So that top slot there is a sound card, and that is ATX24 pin. Don't think that'd be the sound card. I think that'd be something else. This is a standard PCIe times 1. So it's essentially... I know this is PCIe, so just ignore the full length of this. This is PCI, sorry, not PCIe. Ignore the full length of this. This is an old thing, but it's essentially probably looks like something like only about that big. For the entire thing, it's only about that long. And yeah, your sound card would go into the times 1 slot, which is where mine is, and then the times 16 slot, the longer slot, is where the graphics card is put in. So that's, yeah, you're bang on. Where were we at? Cables. Yeah. So you might have with that cable over there... Oh, do you know what would help if I had the proper view for PC Building Simulator? Nice full screen. Yeah, you'd have a cable that splits into two sometimes. It looks like, instead of... Because you can see there's 8 connections there. It looked like there's only 4. And even your motherboard might only have 4. It's just some motherboards ask for more electricity than others, that's all it is. So if it's 8, just push them together, put them in. Simple. If there's 4, push one to one side, put it in. Done. So that all comes off your power supply. Then on your graphics card you might have something like this. So you need your PCIe connectors. If you look at the cables it might even say PCIe on it. Just to make it easier for you. And again, just find the right ones that fit there. You can't go wrong because of how these are shaped. There's weird squares and circles and stuff and they won't match and fix to anything else. Then you can see on your SSD and your hard drive, they also have connections. They have 2 connections. So the smaller connection is how you connect to your motherboard. So you'd get something like a SATA cable, which is like a thin sometimes red, sometimes black. You can get whatever colour you want on it. Cable is a yellow one, for example, that connects up to the SATA port on your motherboard. So SATA's a weird thing. So this one's got 2 SATA ports, and what you can see here is you can see on the motherboard it says A SATA 3, which is the type of SATA it is. Just, you know, how good it is essentially. And it says 0 and 1. Whatever drive you're using for your boot drive, so the hard drive you want Windows to boot off from, put it into 0. Everything else doesn't matter as long as they're L-shaped. Yeah, there's a little L shape inside them. In fact, I've got loads of stuff here, just can't be asked getting it. Oh, in fact, I might have some here. Big box of tricks. No, that's a fan connector. Hey! That there is a PCIe to... well, not PCIe, IDE to SATA connector, but at least it shows you which has fallen somewhere and my room's too dark to see. Bollocks. I got excited about that. Never mind. It's far too dark to see it. Need to make sure I'm not trailing over my mic cable. Hang on. Oh, professional. Wait, I know what... Jesus Christ. I'm being stupid here. Ta-da! The hard drive. Let's have a big cam-only view. The hard drive. There we go. So this would be your SSD or your hard disk drive. They both work the same way. And you can see there's 2 connections in there. That is your data connection, the one that connects to your motherboard. And that is your power connection, the longer one. So if it comes from the power supply, it goes into there. And then if it's just a basic cable on its own, connects from there to the motherboard. And they are L-shaped. You can just about maybe see it's got a little L bracket to it. So there's only one way it'll go in, has to go in on the L. Makes things nice and simple for you. Aww. Thank you, Keegstar. Oh, thank you. And then things get very confusing and weird. So you have another cable. If you're lucky, and I mean very lucky, you will have a case that has everything built into a nice big black block. And when you install the case to the computer, it will just come in this big black block. Otherwise, it will drive you crazy and you'll hate it. Welcome to my life. Because my computer doesn't have this. This is the bit where, honestly, it sounds like I can explain everything to you, but you need to get the manual out. So on the motherboard, you have a bunch of different connectors for the... Let's see if I can see it here. There we go. Bunch of different connectors for the power port, for the LED. So that might be a light that just comes on to show it's on, or it might be a light to show that your hard drive's been reading. It will tell you where it is. And your reset switch. And they go into... Oh, excuse me. They go into random little places here. Best thing to do is to make sure that your motherboard's the right way up according to how your manual says it is, and put them all in, and they're tiny little connectors, and it'll take forever, but it's not that difficult. If you look at the manual, it'll tell you where everything goes perfectly. I always have to look at the manual for that. It's an absolute pain, and they really should make it an easier way of doing it. I've had one case, one computer ever that just had a big black block, and you just put it in and it worked, but only ever one, and it's a pain. It's an absolute pain. You might have some other little bits as well, which this doesn't seem to sport. Oh yeah, front audio, that's a great one. I don't know why it doesn't install that in this game. So you can see on the front of your computer you've got Aud and mic. They've started to colour code them now. Have they? I didn't know they were colour coded. That's amazing. Oh, that's really going to help. You don't need to pray, it's not that difficult. Just keep your motherboard manual on hand and just have a look at certain things. But you might have another cable that comes off your case that says F audio or AUD just for audio. And that goes into this little thing here. You can see on the motherboard it says F audio, which means front audio, audio off the front of your computer. If you have a sound card though, like I do, you might have a front audio connector built into the sound card. If that's the case, ignore that and put it straight into the sound card, because you'll get the higher, better quality audio straight through the sound card, rather than onto this little thing. However, if you're using a USB headset like I am, my sexy headset here, it has its own sound card built into it, so don't worry about that. What else? You might have USB ports, so like that's got USB in the front. Even though I can't see a USB connector at all on this motherboard, it's terrible. But essentially, one of these will say USB on them. Only goes in one way. Plug it in. Another thing you might need are fans. So if we haven't got a back fan here, so we'll put one of them in. So there's two different types of fan sizes. You'll get a 120 or a 140. Check your case manual, check with the case manufacturer, look on the website, whatever's easy for you. It will tell you what fans will fit, a 120 or 140. That just means millimeters. So, for example, this is an F140, so 140 millimeter, and that's just measuring it from there to there, diagonally. So I'm pretty sure this is a 120. So if I grab a 120, there you go, it says it'll install there. Most cases will support both 120 and 140 if they support 140. There are some that have weird sizes like 173 and 210. It's very rare you're going to get one of them. It's most likely going to be 120 or 140. For them, you have these weird twisty screws that take forever to come in. 3-pin and 4-pin. Thank you. Yes, I'll go into 3-pin and 4-pin in a minute. You'll have some horrible screws to put in. They're the worst you're going to get through the whole thing. But just try and put them in wherever makes most sense. Now, this game is terrible for this, but you need to understand there is a way to put in fans depending on how you want your airflow to work in your system. So let's see if it puts it in a different way. If I put one here. Okay, this is a decent way to put it in anyway. The air will always travel in on the side in which you don't have these black things that hold the fan in place. It will always travel in that way and push into the case. So this would mean in this case that the air would travel in, cool down the processor here, cool down the graphics card, and then shoot out. Graphics cards also usually have fans built into them and shoot air out from the back as well, so they help circulate the air in your computer. You obviously want a good airflow in your computer. There are ways of doing different airflows and stuff, but it's better just to direct it all in one way, like you said, just to push it all the way through. It's much easier, but people like me try to have more of a positive airflow than a negative airflow, which means that there's more air coming in than there is going out. I use little tricks like cracks in the case and stuff to try and push the air out, and how I put the case lid on. It's silly, but it's just because my cooler for my processor's stupid, and I want it to cool in a specific way. Don't worry too much. If you do it like that, where you've got all the air coming in from the front and out through the back, you'll be fine. That's brilliant. So just remember that the side without the plastic is the way it comes in. Sometimes a lot of fans as well also have a little arrow on them. In fact, I don't know why I'm saying all this. Because, by chance, I have a fan here. There you go. Nice little fan. So the air would come in through here and come out that way. But a lot of fans as well. I don't know if this is one of them. Let's see if I can see it. No, it doesn't. A lot of fans as well will have a little arrow that will show you. Box of tricks to save the day. No, I've had this under my desk for a while. It's an old fan I'm trying to get rid of, basically. And they'll have these funky little connectors on them. So this is a 3-panel connector, 3-pin connector. Your 4th pin can usually change something on it. So if you have RGB or something like that, it can work with that. It also changes the power fluctuation that comes into it, so it can make it brighter and dimmer. But 3 or 4 doesn't really matter. The most important thing is how the air comes through. So don't worry. Most, if not all, connections on your motherboard, so I found one here, there's one, have a 4-pin on them. You might find 1 or 2 that only have 3 pins on them, but majority of them have 4 pins on them. A lot of things that have RGB connectors through that as well don't tend to use the RGB connector through there. It tends to have its own system for it, which is what my fans do. They have their own system to sort of deal with the RGB, because it's more just how the power comes in. It doesn't really have much. Yeah, 4-pulse modulation. It doesn't really have much degree of control over it. It just sort of pushes extra power in. So it usually has a separate connection just for everything. Good evening, Nightingale. I'm teaching somebody how to build a computer. So those will just go in little places. You'll see things like sys fan here, CPU fan. So rule of thumb, best place to always connect the fan from your cooler is into the CPU fan slot. But the rest of them can go to sys fan. You might find that your computer has a way of controlling. Oh, thank you for the ice cream, Kira. You might find a way that your computer has a way of controlling the speed of your fans. So my computer does. See if I can show you that. So it might come with a bit of software on your computer that'll help you do this. But what you'll find is that it won't be able to change the speed on all the connections, which is just a pain in the arse. So here we've got 4 basic connections: full speed, standard, performance, and quiet. I'd rather it on full speed at the moment because I'm streaming, so it needs a bit more air coming through it. But you can usually change things like how the fan speed is sorted and modulated if you wanted to. But my one will only work through CPU fan and system fan 1. Full speed ahead. Yeah, they are being rammed at the moment. Because you can see that's not too bad temperature wise. It's better than I thought it'd be, actually. Yeah, it's alright. But it'll only go through system fan 1, so you can get fan connectors which will split all of them, so you can put as many fans as you want through one port, and then that will just modulate all the cooling. I just have the 2 things separate: CPU fan and the rest of the fans in the computer, and that way I can push up the processor if I need a bit more power, a bit more cooling in the processor, or push up all the other fans if I just want more cooling in the case itself. I'm good, thank you, Nightingale. So hopefully, let's see when I get a power supply in. Strix, 1060, 1050s, 3Gs, 1060. Oh, thank you. Just teaching people to build computers. I built my own, so I want to do that. No, I'm not going to get one in then. It might be a while. Otherwise, I'd finish off your case. Well, actually, why am I doing that? I'm going to put your case away, and I'm going to pick up Huel's computer, just to quickly show you the power supply. So there you go. There's a power supply put in. So the power supply will usually have a possibility of going in 2 different ways, and this is purely... There's a whole group of people who say it should go in one way, there's a whole group of people who say it should go in another way. I'm a particular fan of the way it's going in at the moment. So basically, there's a fan built into your power supply, which will suck air in and blow it out. I can't remember which way it... No, yeah, it sucks in from the back and it blows out through either the top or the bottom, depending on which way you put it in. Some people say you need to put it in with the air pushing out of the top, so it helps cool down inside your case. I prefer it having its own system, so it pushes in and then pulls out underneath your case. That's me personally. Doesn't matter which way you put it in, it's all personal preference, and doesn't make a massive difference anyway. It's just the elitists that want to particularly choose which way it should be. And like I said, this is a modular power supply, which means that all the cables go into them individually, but you might have a case that's a power supply that's just got a pile of cables that come with it. Blows out towards the input cable. Blows out that way, does it? Just sucks in. I don't know. I always blow out that way. I just like having its own system. I don't mind. Will this intake loads of dust? Every single intake intakes loads of dust. You're better off if you've got a computer case that does have, like this one, a dust filter, which we've just pulled out. You're best off trying to make sure all your intakes come through a filter, because a power supply doesn't have a filter. Then again, my computer's filterless, and I keep it fairly clean, and depending on where you put it as well, can keep it clean. there's a lot you can do to try and keep it clean, and Kira even came up with a fantastic idea. Some dust filters come with a case, not all. But Kira came up with a fantastic idea of using tights and cutting little thing. Well, you've said you've seen it elsewhere. You didn't come up with the idea, but you told me about this fantastic idea of using tights and cutting them up as makeshift dust filters, if you want. Dust comes with a case, yeah, that's true. I've never had a purely dust-free case when I've got it, I swear to God. But yeah, ideally you want the air to be sucked in wherever there's a dust filter, if you have one. If you don't, it's not the end of the world, but you might need to clean out the inside of your computer a bit more. And like I said, all you need to do is go to Poundland and buy a kind of compressed air, and that will just blow air around and make things work. Make things all clean. It's the best thing in the world. Just make sure when you are using compressed air, again, this game doesn't show that particularly well. Compressed air is a liquid inside a can. You just do short, quick bursts rather than holding it down, otherwise it will turn into a liquid and it will cause issues. But relatively, you're going to be fine. Just do tss, 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 and you're fine. But yeah, then if I can remove some cables, just as I explained before, about where all these cables go. There we go. So there's your main power cables that you'll probably be having. So like I said, there's one 8-pin one at the top here, which could be possibly two 4-pins. This doesn't really show that very well, but it'd be split between the middle here. Just put them together, plug it in. Simple. They're selling air, I know, right? And then you've got your huge 16-pin connector here. Again, there'll be a big fat one. There may even be a 4-bit one that comes off that. If that's the case, you need to fill up fully. Just push it together, push it in. It's fine. It'll also only go in one way because there is a little clip on it. And you'll see there's a little nubbin. It's also only go in one way anyway because of the shape of these. Flat on one side, curved on the other. You can't put it in any other way. So don't worry about it. I could make you a PC if you want, Space Ham. Definitely. I mean, IRL as well, if you wanted to buy the parts. It's not a problem. 20 plus 4 is often... Yeah, it's not 16-pin, it's 24-pin. You're right, thank you. 20 plus 4, yeah. Oh my god, love this song. Oh my god, this is amazing. Sorry, I've just realised. This is like a remixed Tetris song. Anyway. And then you might have a couple of connections on your graphics card. Just find the right one, plug them in. You can't really do any wrong. There we go. And then you will have more or less built your computer. The only thing you would have left to do is pop in any side panels or front panels or whatever needs back onto it. And plugging a USB stick in there. You can't hear the songs. How about now? Is that better? Turned up a bit. You might have a little USB stick. Where get USB stick, sorry, pop onto Windows, well, Google Windows Media Creation Tool, and that will give you the ability to put Windows 10 onto the stick. It's fine, I'm nearly done. Onto the stick, and then you can install Windows. Simple. And that's it. That is a computer. Have a nice potty break. I'm not going to be able to do this rig is broken thing, am I? Oh, I've got loads of these to send back. Fucking hell. So what was wrong with this one? Why couldn't I do this one yet? Space out of nowhere, I know, right? Because I didn't have the right graphics card. So we need the RX 480 to come tomorrow. RX 570s. 1060s. Got the song. So good. RX 470s, way. Cool. Let's just accept any of the jobs. Can't build that computer yet, I haven't got any power supplies. What songs? Can you guys seriously not hear the music? I guess you can't. Oh my god, you can't hear anything. There's nothing coming through. I'm so sorry. You've been depraved of even the system, the game sound. That's why. It's deactivated it for some reason. Expect a bit of lag on the stream. That should have sorted it. I'm so sorry. I'm going to pour that last song on because I loved it so much. There we go. I'm so sorry. I can't believe you're being deprived of that. I'm going to turn it down so you make sure you can hear me properly. Hello. There we go. Sorry about that. Jesus. I didn't even realise. Right. It's awesome. It's like a remixed Tetris. Why have I got... I've only just looked over at my export now and I just realised that I've still got that. Just got that. There we go, that's better. Next day, we've got other things. Oh yes, delivery. Graphics card. Otherwise okay, so we should be able to fix this computer now. Name of the remix. It is Tetris theme song. The Bros remix. It's a royalty-free song, so if you want to put it in something, you could. That's awesome. Okay, so it's definitely this card that's going to here. So... we don't have the 4G version of the RX 480. Fuck. He wants us to die. Okay, I'll have to have something else, won't he? Let's get an upgrade. Don't complain. 470 would be a downgrade. I don't think it's SLI. Crossfire. Sorry. The AMD is Crossfire, not SLI. So well, let's get an upgrade. One hell of an upgrade. It should be bad. It's not going to be anything for it. It's fine, thank you for dropping by. I mean, I've got 9 people watching. What the hell's going on? Is this actually that interesting? I'm glad people are interested. You have many viewers actually, especially not at 20 past 1 in the morning. It's okay, you go to sleep. I'm probably only going to do another 10 minutes or so of the stream and then I'm going to call it, to be honest with you, because it is getting pretty late. There you go, that seems to be good. What was this guy? D. Stevenson. But enjoy, have a nice night's sleep space. D. Stevenson. MSI, yeah, it's MSI. Just keeps crashing. Okay. Inferior graphics card installed. How is the 8 gig 470 inferior to the 4 gig 470? You can't be fucking me. Get a 4 gig card. I guess maybe in the clock speed, but it doesn't really matter at that point. I've doubled his power. That's pissed me off, that has. It really has. Okay, RX 570 overclocked edition. Inferior, fuck off, that's inferior. You go from the 470 to the 570. bullshit that is. 1070 Mini. GTX 1070 is a fucking amazing card. It's got SLI compatibility, there we go, SLI'd. There we go. It's not in theory, but it just hasn't fixed. How has it not fixed the issue? I will be heading straight to bed, I'm afraid, Kira, yes. That's my plan straight after the stream. Sorry. Probably just going to finish this day on the game and then head to bed. Because it's quite late. And I don't usually stay up too late. There wasn't a virus issue. So what else could they diagnosed with this? It's perfectly fine. I'm confused. Just said it keeps crashing. He didn't say much else about it, did he? I know what's wrong with it. My computer just keeps crashing. Have you heard of MSI? They're meant to be pretty good. Overheating, maybe? Causing it to crash? I don't know. While I'm looking into that, let me try these two. That one's dusty as fuck. Nice 970 there. Turns on. And it boots. What's wrong with it then? Really stupid. So this is hard drive failed. Must have multiple hard drives. Imagine if that's the case. Because I'd only assume it's a hard drive, that's the only thing I could assume. It seems to be quite stable. Heat will ramp up on it because it's a benchmark, but maybe his one's hard drive based as well? Okay. Let's remove the hard drive and see if it comes up as broken. Can't find documents. Yeah, there's nothing to do with that in this game. There's nothing like that. Yeah, there we go, broken. Good punch. Seems to still hard drive. So I'm not going to find any of these documents now because they're all gone with the old fucking hard drive. God, this song's depressing. Ah, what's the hard drive? Oh, I just put it. That better? Good. Done. Hope you like the upgraded graphics card. Yeah, this one here. Like I can fix obviously need a clean. No boot device, hard drive again. 2 terabyte hard drive. That is disgusting. I'd never let my computer get to that stage. There are people who do. I don't get it. I really don't. This doesn't make any sense. But this is a long stream. This has lasted 2 hours and 22 minutes so far. Never that long. Now, what was wrong with this one? Why couldn't I sort this one out? Was it the power supply? What was wrong with this one? Use day. System just locks up and it's getting quite hot. This has been on many dodgy sites, so that immediately tells me to run a virus scan. What was wrong with this one again? It's an upgrade. We'll wait for the i7 600. Hey, don't think I have it. 6700K. No, because I couldn't order it because it wasn't available yet. So there's 6700K there. Machines. I've seen a machine with cobwebs inside, honestly. You were the village idiot that cleaned PCs. I'm the village idiot who used to clean PCs with a Hoover. I used to think that was alright. But, you know, we all live and learn from our past mistakes. When we got our first computer, my parents, I deleted MS-DOS thinking it was just waste. It was pointless. I bricked the entire computer. But I learnt from my mistake. That's what we all need to do. We need to learn from our mistakes. It just needed a... okay. Nice and easy, that one. Cool. Just needed a virus scan. There we go. Good as gold. We can pick these computers up. What did I do now? Spent way more on me too, yeah, that was the person that put those 1070s in there. take space, your line of thinking was correct. Well, yeah, I was trying to clear up space on the computer, but this was, what, Windows 98? So it, you know, it's a DOS-based system. I didn't know. So I just deleted it. I was trying to be good. It didn't work out, but I tried, right? That's why we're good now, yeah. Well, what happened was, I'll give you guys a bit of history because I'm done with this game for today, unfortunately. About to come off the thing. I was always interested in computers when I was younger, and I turned around to my mum and said, look, I want to know how a computer works. So she went into work and asked everybody if they had any old computers, and I literally had about 4 or 5 broken, old, shitty computers, old IDE ribbon cable computers in my garage, which we don't even have anymore, it's been flattened since then. And I used to go out to the garage, there used to be electricity running to the garage, I used to just sit there and tear the computer to pieces, and then build a computer that would work. And I got so proud the day I could turn it on and get to BIOS. I didn't even realise that I didn't have an operating system installed in there, and that's all I needed to do. I didn't know. But we live and learn, don't we? And now, these days, I can do pretty much everything on the computer fairly easily. So, I even have a drive caddy for a small hard drive that I use as a portable hard disk drive because it's cheaper and it works just the same. Got the hard drive from CEX. But you know, we live and learn from what we do by our mistakes, and especially when it comes to computer building, you have to do a few of those mistakes. You have to fuck up some computers to learn how to do it properly, I think. And the only problem is they're costly mistakes, but you learn. For example, one little thing, you know, I still learned today, headsets. Spend a bit of money on a headset. I love this headset at the moment. You can see it's got all this RGB stuff on it. I can even turn the RGB off and on. I love it. Compared to the headset I was streaming with, it still somewhat works, which is why I'm holding on to it, but this is so much better. And it's, you know, you learn what you have to do. You need to fuck up to learn anything. Exactly. Bang on. But I think PC building is a skill I think everybody needs, because we're so into this world where if something breaks we can probably just about fix it, but we're becoming so much more reliant on other people to do it, and it's costing us a fortune. Not to mention, learning how to build and work with computers teaches you what's inside your phone and how your phone works, teaches you about all sorts of technology these days. Super fucking important, in my opinion. But there's my lecture over. Who wants to see a bit of Welsh? There's a bit of Welsh. Yep. It's a weird language that nobody reads. I don't know why I'm doing it. You can tell I'm tired. Look. Fan. Thank you guys for watching PC Build. I'm so happy I'm back to streaming. Hopefully I will be streaming again not too long, sometime in the future, sometime this week. I think maybe Friday, because I'm working in the morning. So I'll probably have the afternoon. I was working this morning, for example.